sad. It's sad. Oh my gosh, I'm choked up.
It's bittersweet to see it ending, but, you know, what has to happen has to happen.
It's the end of an era. The Tribe plays its last game at Progressive Field as the Cleveland Indians. We talked to fans about what this day means to them.
Whether it's the scoreboard or all the signage around the ballpark, we're working through that, and there probably will be opportunities for fans to get access to that to benefit our charities.
Plus, we know you want it when you might be able to get a piece of Indians ballpark signage, what the team plans to do as the change to the Guardians takes place.
Proof of vaccination. A local school district is considering it for some students and staff. We'll explain how it would work.
And bye-bye porch pirates. Which city plans to track packages ahead of the holiday season and who's paying for it?
And it's Victory Monday. The voice of the Browns, Jim Donovan, joins us to talk about our 2-1 start. What's new starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
It is the end of an era. The Tribe just wrapping up their last home game ever as the Cleveland Indians. It's a W. That's good. Fans on their feet showing their appreciation for the Indians players one last time. A nice standing ovation to send them off to Kansas City.
It's hard to believe that the next time the fans come here to Progressive Field, this will all be for the Cleveland Guardians. Good evening, Northeast Ohio. I'm Betsy Kling alongside Jay Cropper. We took the show on the road to celebrate the end of the era of the Indians.
Why not?
Bring in the new era of the Guardians. It's a slow progress that and a transition that'll take place over the next few months. But away we go, off to the next round.
Yeah, on to the next round indeed. The Indians pulled off a nice win today, 8-3 the final score. At this point, they're chasing a 500 record. They would love to get to 81-81 to end the season. That is certainly in play as they're now 77-79. Not that it matters because they're not going to make the playoffs, but it would be nice to end the Indians on a winning note.
Absolutely. And, of course, we have team coverage for you tonight. Our sports director, Jimmy Donovan, breaks down the game in just a few minutes. I got to talk to the Indians about what's next for the team and especially for all of the swag that's inside of the stadium there. But Lena Lai, you get to join us live out here on the plaza on this beautiful afternoon. And Lena, this change is a big one for the team. It's the fan base is not really locking in as of yet, all of them, but it's a transition, and here we go on this new transition.
Yeah, it's clear it's going to take time for a lot of fans. And so we were inside during the game talking to fans, and it's a whole stew of emotions. Some angry, some sad, but others determined to continue to cheer on Cleveland baseball.
Under a warm late September sun, the end
Go Tribe.
of an era.
You know, it's bittersweet to see it ending.
Fans snapping selfies and pics in front of the Indians sign for the final home game to be played with that team name. For some,
I feel sad.
it's hard to let go.
Oh my gosh, I'm choked up.
Others vowing not to return.
Was it the last game at the old ballpark, the first game at this ballpark? I've been a season ticket holder, and I think I'm done.
Meanwhile, at the team shop, very little Indians merchandise left after a run during the season. Soon, these shops will be filled with Cleveland Guardians merchandise. No thanks, say some.
Just Cleveland Indians gear, and we'll find it. We'll find it somewhere if we're going to buy new. Other than that, we'll just live with what we got.
But the team will continue to sell select merchandise with their historic names and logos, including Chief Wahoo, to acknowledge its history. Because after 106 years as the Indians and 121 years as a professional baseball team, no matter the name, it begins with Cleveland.
It is what it is, but we'll still support this team whether the name changes or not.
So once again, the Indians will not go away. The team shop will continue to sell select merchandise just to honor his heritage, so including Chief Wahoo as well.
Right.
But coming up at 6, we'll introduce you to a guy who traveled all the way across the country just to attend the final home game.
I talked to folks from California, New Hampshire, Texas, Mississippi, all over. They weren't going to miss it. You saw it in your piece, and you've been seeing these types of signs really going all the way back to opening day when it opened as Jacobs Field in 1994. A gentleman by the name of Jim Stamper has been bringing these to Indians games forever, famously counting down our magic number when we were in pennant races.
Right.
It's been a big part of Jacobs and Progressive Field's history. Talking to Jim a while ago, he's just off to the left of us here. This is it. Says he's not going to be bringing these anymore unless they allow him to bring it next year for opening day. We'll have to wait and see what the team sets as a policy for signs. They've already said, yeah, of course you can wear your gear.
Right.
But I don't know if we'll have signs with the old Chief Wahoo or Indians allowed in for opening day next year.
Yeah, it'll clearly take a lot of time for some fans to embrace this. Maybe some, not at all.
You know what will do it?
Yeah.
Winning.
Yeah.
Right?
You can sell a lot more merch with a win than you can with a loss.
That will help.
Lena, thank you so much. Well, I had a little bit of an honor today. I got to throw out the first pitch at today's game. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But I also had a chance to talk with Curtis Danberg, who's the Vice President of Communications for the team. And he acknowledged that today is bittersweet for the organization. Yes, the organization feels bittersweet too. They're excited for what's to come. They're nostalgic for what has already passed. Of course, I had to get in with the first questions about what is going to happen with all of the Indians' gear, the signage. That becomes a hot collector commodity. Curtis had a few words to tell me about that.
Obviously, we need to be ready for March 31st of 2022 to usher in a new era. But whether it's the scoreboard or all the signage around the ballpark, we're working through that. And there probably will be opportunities for fans to get access to that to benefit our charities.
That's not a lot of time to completely flip the branding of a major league franchise. Kind of take me through the process of what you think is going to be happening from now until then.
So we will not become the Cleveland Guardians tomorrow or the day after the season or even the day after the World Series. But there will be a moment in time early in the offseason before the holidays that will usher in the new era. And then from that point on, I'll be working through the process to take all this signage and convert for opening day next year.
And fan feedback, how's that been going?
We understand it's a difficult time. I mean, we have both sides of the equation, and we're sensitive to that, and we're going to allow people and the fans to honor the last day of Indians baseball today, and, you know, it'll take time, and we recognize that.
Well, personally, you're somebody who's grown up with the Indians, just like many of us here in Northeast Ohio. What does this feel like for you?
I don't know if it's sunk in yet, personally, but I can tell you honestly that I'm excited about the Cleveland Guardians. I'm excited that was the name. It represents pride, resiliency, and loyalty for Clevelanders. And I mean, the bridge is right across the street. So of all the names, I'm excited that's where we ended up. And we'll be ready to hopefully bring a World Series to Cleveland Guardians baseball in the near future.
So if you've ever walked into Progressive Field and thought, man, I would love to have that sign in my living room, stay tuned, because there's a chance you might be able to do that. What they're going to do is they're going to take everything out, they will assess, and they may be auctioning some of those items off that will benefit the charities, the team's charities, which then gets turned around and put back into the community. So it's a nice way that you can pay homage to your favorite team, and then your favorite team is going to pay homage to the community.
I'm wondering what's going to happen to the really big ones, the one behind home plate, and also the one on the scoreboard. Those are so big.
Script Indians on the scoreboard. I asked about that because, of course, Chief Wahoo is at the Western Reserve Historical
Society. I would love to see it join Chief Wahoo.
It's too big.
I thought it would be.
It is
so
huge,
long.
and it's actually in multiple pieces, so they don't know if they're going to keep it intact in one item or put it into pieces, but that too will be coming down. Obviously, that's a big showstopper for Guardians to be up there next year.
Yeah, it is, for sure. All right, let's talk about the game itself today. Hey, look, at least it ended on a positive note. The Indians pulling out the 8-3 victory. It was a makeup game from a previously rained-out game. I talked to one guy who came here from New Hampshire thinking that Sunday's game yesterday against Chicago would be the last game. And then, of course, the rain out, so he had to stay an extra day, and now he'll be leaving to go back to the East Coast. But Jim Donovan joins us now. Jim, it was a fun game. I think for my money, the highlight was when Bradley Zimmer hit that towering home run in the 8th inning. That will go down as the last home run by an Indians player at Progressive Field. He hit it off of his older brother, 14 months older. So that was kind of fun. Just really a beautiful weather day and a great day at the ballpark.
You know, it really was, Jay. Over 13,000 down there to watch it on a picture-perfect day. And, of course, you go back in time through all of these years when you've had big games over at that ballpark, and a lot of them on opening day. We've gone through snow and sleet and rain. So if we're going to end with the name Indians going out and the Guardians coming in, why not end on a picture-perfect day with a picture-perfect performance? And that it was. The fans were out and in a good move, nostalgic, no doubt about it. But that moment that you're talking about came in the 8th inning right here, Jay. Bradley Zimmer, home run off of his brother Kyle. It's only the 4th time in Major League Baseball since 1900 that a brother has hit a home run off of his brother. You add up the numbers, the Indians got great pitching from Cal Quantrill. They win the game by a score of 8-3. They said so long to the fans as this is their last home game. And here is interim manager DeMarlo Hale.
You know, we're going to move into next year, you know, under a new name, but I think we still want to have the passion and support that the fans have showed this organization in this town and this city. So it was a pretty good moment.
It really was. And so the Indians head out now to Kansas City. So they'll play the Royals and then they'll finish up in Texas. And that will be it. That's the end of this year. And when they come back, they'll be the Guardians. And Jay, when they come back, they may be with a new name, but they'll be with the same standard. They will march out tremendous pitching. And to your point that everyone will be happy as long as they win, they've taken a big step with that within that organization. They are loaded with young pitching talent.
That certainly has become their trademark, Jimmy. And as we say goodbye to this era of Indians baseball, obviously they're not going to make the playoffs. That's a disappointment. They were so riddled with injuries, particularly with that pitching staff. But if you're looking for some sort of a consolation prize here, the Indians are now 77-79. With 6 games left, they have 3 at Kansas City, 3 at Texas. Certainly a winning record is within reach, and I guess that'd be better than going out on a losing note.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt about it. And they look for a fresh start next year, not just in name, but hopefully with a healthy Terry Francona, with a healthy Shane Bieber, Aaron Savali, all those young pitchers that if they were in the rotation through the entire season, we might be still going and battling for the division or at least a wild card spot, but it wasn't meant to be this year.
Absolutely. I think if they could have stayed healthy, they certainly would have been in the hunt for one of those wild cards. Jimmy Donovan, thank you so much, Jim. We'll see you in the 5:30 half hour when we're going to talk about our 2-1 Cleveland Browns. We'll see you soon, Jimmy.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
Switching gears now to the other big story of the day, COVID-19. And we're taking you to Beachwood, where just in a couple of hours, the school board will be hearing a proposal that could require staff and students to prove they've been vaccinated.
Yeah, if passed, Beachwood would be one of the first districts in the state to issue a ruling like this. Brandon Simmons has been following the story, and he has details now on how that will work.
Here in Beachwood, tonight's board meeting will start off with a new vax or test proposal introduced by Superintendent Bob Hardis. The program would require staff and some high school students to either be vaccinated or be subject to COVID testing. Hardis's first mention of the vax or test program came in a YouTube video released Friday. In it, he says too many students and staff have missed too much school. And after consulting with experts, he's proposing that all staff submit proof of vaccination. If they choose not to, they'll be the subject of weekly COVID tests that prove they're negative. And it's not just staff. Students aged 16 and older will also be under the same rules if they want to participate in extracurricular activities like sports. The district says vaccine status will be kept private like other medical records.
Employees and students who are already vaccinated can simply submit a photo or scanned image of their vaccination card to our Human Resources Department, and it will be treated as a private medical record and held as such in our HR department.
Now, this rule would apply only to students aged 16 and older because that's the only age group where the FDA has given full approval to the Pfizer vaccine. Now, students who don't want to participate in extracurricular activities will continue to go to school with no requirement as they do today. Now, again, this is just a proposal at this point, and the board will discuss it at tonight's board meeting at 7:00 p.m. And if there is enough support there, they could have a full vote at the next meeting, which would occur on October 11th. In Beachwood, I'm Brandon Simmons, 3 News.
Next on What's New, verdict reached. New developments in the trial for R&B singer R. Kelly today. What went on inside the New York City courtroom and what's next for the former superstar.
Then cracking down on those porch pirates, we're going to tell you the latest local city making changes to stop thieves as we head into the holiday shopping season.
And we're going to send it back into the studio to get an update on this forecast. Matt Wentz, you, my friend, hit a home run with today's weather. Good job.
Boy, tell you what, and that streak is going to continue this week, Betsy. We've got a gorgeous week out in front of us. Their fall sports forecast for tonight, warm and breezy. Temps settling back into the 70s, just gorgeous. We do have some changes and some nuances in that forecast. We'll bring it to you next.
Welcome back to What's New. As we head into the holiday shopping season, Parma police are doing something very creative. They're cracking down on porch pirates in an interesting way.
Yeah, they definitely are. The city department and city leaders announced a new initiative to eliminate the thieves late this afternoon.
Project Stop uses GPS technology to actually track lost packages.
And the new system can also be added to a homeowner's video doorbell and security cameras by registering at the prosecutor's office. Very clever. The money for the project is coming from law enforcement trust fund money, so criminals, not taxpayers, will be footing the bill.
We are partnering up with Assisted Patrol in having tracking devices being placed in different packages, as well as other forms such as vehicles to help as a visual deterrence for thefts and also to apprehend criminals.
Well, so far the city has had 27 incidents this year.
Yeah.
And I always love to see the YouTube videos of like the people who take it into their own hands and do like glitter bombs and sirens and paint bombs for the porch pirates.
I've even seen stink bombs.
Yeah, or like, you know, fake noises and all kinds of crazy stuff. It kind of makes me laugh a little bit.
Yeah,
Justice.
I like it when the bad guys get caught. It's always fun, especially when they're stealing stuff. You really feel violated because that's on your property.
Yeah.
That means somebody walked up to your house and took something that you paid for.
Right.
It's very disturbing. I think this is a great program. I hope it works.
That's where I like neighbors to kind of keep an eye out for everybody else. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, you're not the UPS guy taking the package.
Yeah,
You're supposed to
exactly.
be leaving it. So
Very good.
yeah.
Could it have been any better today?
So nice today. And remember, today's game happened because Wednesday was such a spectacular rain out. The worst weather ever
not today.
On Wednesday. But man, what a rescheduled day we had. Just perfection.
It was nice. Matt, before you start, I had a lot of suggestions today for folks for the weather word, and I had already picked it, so we've got to go with this, and it plays off our previous story. Busted. Busted. I don't know how that's going to go in there, Matt, but I know you'll do it.
Good luck.
I was going to say, if anyone wants to come take stuff from our porch, it's all diapers and wipes. So come on over. You can clean yourself
Make them
up.
dirty, and that's the justice we're talking about.
That's right. We keep them clean around here. Yeah, we'll get that into the forecast for sure, Jay. It's been beautiful today. We made it the low and even mid 80s outside on that gusty southwest wind. But boy, things really going to change. Next 4 weeks, these are your average highs. 72 degrees our average high today. By next Monday, 69 is our average. And notice how each week we lose some degrees, right? October is that month of cooling there. You really start to notice things, and that will certainly be the case as we get into the month. But we've got warm days out ahead of it still. Look at the 80s right now. 86 at our sensor there in the Akron area, 80s in Jefferson and Ashtabula, 70s along the lakeshore. A mild day. That's kind of coming off this heat in the plains where they've had 80s and 90s under a big ridge in the plain states. But you notice off towards our north, we do have some cooler readings up in southern Canada. We're not going to get in on this, despite the fact it looks like we have a nice flow out of the southwest. So that warmth down to the south will be busted by this cold front that's going to be moving in from the north. And this is going to come across the lake overnight tonight. And tomorrow you'll notice a markedly different air mass. Not bad by any standards, though. National Design Mart hour by our forecast. Clouds will build in tonight as that frontal boundary sinks south. Notice temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Still mild tonight. Here's that wind shift. You see it shifts off towards the north as we get in about 5, 6 a.m. That will bring likely some clouds, even some drizzle tomorrow morning. So we'll wake up with just kind of a raw looking day. Temperatures will be dropping, and then eventually we'll clear things out. Sunshine will come out. It'll be a beautiful afternoon after some morning clouds, but notice temperatures, we're stuck in the 60s to near 70 degrees tomorrow. That will set the stage for a chilly morning on Wednesday. Where do we go from there? Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast. Beautiful Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, high pressure settles in from Canada. That will bring cooler air, and then we're back up into the 70s this weekend. Next chance of rain, we go dry. Next chance of rain arrives on Sunday. We'll be back.
To be talking about R. Kelly, and he's a bad guy. Bad guy, bad guy, bad guy.
It is time right now for our daily pop break with Kiara Cotton, who's back at the WKYC studios. Kiara, you have some breaking news in the R. Kelly case today.
That's right, Jay. For more than 2 decades, R. Kelly has been accused of sexually abusing dozens of young victims without facing any consequences. Well, today, that changed. The 54-year-old was found guilty in a sex trafficking trial in Brooklyn federal court. According to prosecutors, R. Kelly repeatedly used his star power to prey on underage girls, young women, and at least 2 male victims. But this is not the last of his legal woes. He is also facing sex-related charges in Illinois and Minnesota. Kelly, who has been jailed without bail since 2019, is now facing decades in prison. He is scheduled to be sentenced May 4th, 2022. Switching gears now to television, the ladies and gentlemen of Bridgerton are back. Over the weekend, Netflix released the first look at season 2 of the popular show that will follow the eldest Bridgerton boy, Anthony, and his quest to find a wife. In the teaser, we're also introduced to a new character, Kate Sharma, played by Simone Ashley, who takes issues with the requirements of being a wife. What happens next? We'll have to wait and see. And thanks to our Cleveland Browns taking down the Chicago Bears yesterday, it's a beautiful Victory Monday. But you may be wondering why I'm bringing that up in your pop break. Well, the Browns had a very special guest in attendance at yesterday's game that may have helped them assemble. Big-time director and Northeast Ohio native Joe Russo showed up to support the Brown and Orange. The Browns posted a picture of Joe on the sidelines, letting fans know he was in the building. The official Twitter page for the Russo brothers quoted the tweet saying, "Here we go, Brownies," with a clapping emoji. And with the Browns playing so well this season, Jay, you never know who you may see. Back to you.
Yeah, that's right. You got to be on the lookout. You know what they say, everybody loves a winner. And now every Cleveland fan in the world is going to be racing to get at First Energy Stadium to support the winning Cleveland Browns. Kiara, thanks.
Sure
Appreciate
thing.
it.
Well, 2021 has apparently been my year. I've had some very big things happen in my life this year. This is definitely one of the big ones. I got to throw out the first pitch today. And somebody goes, "Betsy, you're now a trivia question."
Yes.
Who threw out the first pitch of the last Indians home game?
That's exactly right.
And I was like, wow, if that is the depths to which you are going for trivia questions, I really apologize that you have nothing else going on.
Well, hey, you know, diehard Indian fans, that's something they would want to know. That's a little tidbit of information. Now, they asked me to break down the pitch.
Oh, gosh.
And I got to tell you, I see nothing wrong with it other than the fact that it was just a bit outside. But other than that, I really liked your form. You went from the mound. I don't know if you were fully on the rubber, but you were on the mound, and it went 50 feet.
It was a good height, just left. I was sad. I
liked
did way
it.
better in the bullpen warming up. And
I heard from many fans inside that give you 2 thumbs up on the pitch. They thought it was very good. It didn't bounce, and the catcher caught it. That means it's a success.
And it wasn't 50 Cent. I literally, as I'm walking out to the mound, I'm like, don't be 50 Cent and don't be Baba Booey. 50 Cent went that way, Baba Booey went that way.
Also, Google the mayor of Cincinnati first pitch.
Oh, yeah?
Worst one ever. Worst one ever.
I'm better than Cincinnati.
Betsy's was a 99 out of 100.
Woo,
well
all
done.
Right. Coming up in the next half hour of What's New, we're going to have your top 3 news stories, including today's coronavirus case numbers in Ohio.
Then we've talked a lot about baseball, but as you know, we had a big day in Cleveland yesterday with the Browns win over the Bears. Jim Donovan's going to join us. He's going to give us his take of our 2-1 start.
We love Victory Monday here in the CLE. Then we are sharing our favorite memory from Indians baseball. The team just finished up their last home game. Now they're soon to be the Guardians, of course. We'll have more on all of that coming up in just over 2 minutes.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Let's get you up to speed with 3 things you need to know right now at 5:30. First up this evening, Bishop Anthony Pilla. The funeral services started today. It began with Vespers this afternoon in the Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist here in Cleveland. The wait continues through 7 o'clock tonight. The funeral mass will take place tomorrow at 11 in the morning. Pilla served as the Bishop of Cleveland from 1981 to 2006. He died last Tuesday.
Well, we have some good news on the COVID-19 front. Fewer cases were reported in the last 24 hours here in the state of Ohio than at any point in the last 3 weeks. That number really coming down now. The state confirming 3,681 new cases. That's nearly half of our 21-day average of 6,400. The last time we were at 3,000 cases, you got to go back to September 6th. Again, further proof we are now in decline after our most recent peak. Hospitalizations also down in the state of Ohio. 205 new patients were admitted overnight. Overall, that gives us 3,734 COVID-19 patients who are battling the virus in Ohio hospitals.
And we are saying goodbye to an era. Today, the Tribe played their last game at Progressive Field as the Cleveland Indians. Next year, they're going to be taking the field as the Cleveland Guardians. And today, we talked to fans about witnessing this historic moment, and many of them, understandably, had mixed emotions.
I think for the most part, I'll still wear Indians gear just to remember the good times that I had here at the ballpark.
I feel sad. It's sad. Oh my gosh, I'm choked up.
Oh, my dad was a season ticket holder for 20 years. So coming up through the 90s, we saw all those great years, and it's bittersweet to see it ending, but what has to happen has to happen.
It's a great day to see a ball game, and it's a good time to say goodbye to the Indians tonight.
Well, as for the team, they told me, we all have to keep in mind the ballpark is not going to change overnight. And there very well may be opportunities for fans to be able to get their hands on some of the Indian signage once they remove it from the stadium. They got a lot of turnover. Every little thing that has the block C, the script I, Indians, Tribe, you name it. It all has to change, and you may be able to get a hold of that. They're talking about being able to do an auction for charities, the team's charities, and so it's not only going to be something that is nostalgia for you, but you're going to be able to help the community at the same time.
Absolutely, and they've got 6 months to retrofit the stadium to Guardians, so a half a year. There's a lot of signage that needs to come down. Some of it very, very big. We were talking about the Indian sign located on top of the scoreboard.
Right.
That might need a corner of the city because
it's huge.
It is very big, and it's certainly not going to fit anywhere indoor unless you put it someplace, I don't know, like maybe here at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
Don't think they want that inside.
We have some people with some pretty swanky houses.
Yeah.
They'd be able to
not that big.
Put it in the garage or something. It'd be very
not
interesting.
That big.
Nice for the man cave.
It'd be a great man cave sign.
Yeah, wouldn't it?
All right, today our top talker, the Cleveland Browns are 2-1.
Wow.
Chubb in the backfield with Mayfield, got the snap, back, looks, throws, end zone, caught, touchdown, Austin Hooper! He's going to give it, Hunt's going to run to the right, he got it, 25, a cut 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, Kareem Hunt! And he leaps into the stands. Snap back, he's got it, here comes Koromoa, here comes Garrett, they got him again, Myles Garrett, 4.5 sacks on the afternoon.
Yeah, and rumor has it that the Browns actually sacked Justin Fields one more time as he was getting on the bus to leave the stadium. 9 sacks, 4.5 by Myles Garrett. Folks, I think we're concerned about that Browns defense. I know, Jimmy, you and I talked about that earlier after the 1-1 start. This wasn't exactly the defense that the Browns were looking for, but my goodness, I think they showed up, and they showed up in a big way, and all of a sudden, your Cleveland Browns are in first place, looking pretty good, Jim.
Yeah, they really are. Jay, I have to tell you, this was a total defensive victory. They have won games, and with that great run last year, but they won it by outscoring the opponent, and I mean heavily dominating offensively, but defensively, it was always a crutch. I mean, they were really always kind of hanging on. Not so yesterday. They were absolutely dominating in the game. I have never seen the Browns play defense like this since they've come back in 1999. 9 sacks in the game, 4.5 personally from Myles Garrett. It is a career high for him. It is a team record for a Browns defensive player to have 4.5 sacks in one game. This is a player who quite openly every year says, my goal is to be the defensive player of the year in the NFL. I think his nomination and his candidacy is very, very strong after yesterday.
I mean, Miles was outstanding. Really, the entire defense was outstanding. But if you point an individual, it would certainly be Miles in that effort yesterday. He's our best player. I think he knows that. We know that, and the other teams know that. So he's going to get a lot of attention. We're going to move him around. We're going to do different things with him, and we need him to play great. And again, it's no secret to anybody.
Gosh, he was unstoppable yesterday, or better said, he was absolutely unblockable yesterday. Jay, when you take a look at this right now, you got to remember, this defense didn't play at all during the preseason. There are 9 new faces on that defense from how they lined up last year and how they're lining up this year. And now maybe 3 weeks into the season, this system with these new players, it's starting to click, because not only was Garrett great yesterday, but much tighter coverage in the secondary. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah was all over the field. It was pretty close to being a perfect performance.
You know, when you look at the final numbers, the Bears, Jimmy, had 42 plays, and they had 47 net yards on offense. I don't think I've ever seen anybody dominate an offense the way the Browns defense did the Bears yesterday. They had 11 third downs. They converted only once. So 2-1 now. They have to go to Minnesota, Jimmy. That's never an easy task, but it's a game that I think if you're looking at objectively, the Browns should be favored to win this.
Yeah, finally Minnesota won yesterday. They've lost a couple of heartbreakers earlier at the start of the season.
I think we lost Jimmy.
But they had a great win yesterday when they knocked off Seattle yesterday. And so, you know, the Browns, anyway, are looking forward to the Minnesota Viking game coming up. It's a very emotional game for Kevin Stefanski. Remember now, he cut his teeth in the NFL and went up the ladder as an assistant coach and really as a chief of staff and a quality control coach and finally an offensive coordinator with the Vikings. So it's a big game for him. Jay, final point is this. Every team in the NFL will claim we have a great running back. The Browns have a great running game. And you witnessed it yesterday. When Nick Chubb was struggling a little bit, they couldn't stop Kareem Hunt. When you put that together, you pack that to go on the road, you're a tough team to beat.
Yeah, and great balance, too. I thought OBJ targeted 9 times, had 5 catches, leading receiver in terms of yards. This team is starting to gel. Jimmy, this is as much fun as we thought it would be when the season started.
You know, and Jay, here's the other thing. After that tough loss in Kansas City, we talked about this after that and lamented the loss, but said, now they got to hold serve and win those 2 games at home. Mission accomplished. They did it.
On to Minnesota we go. Jimmy Donovan, thank you, Jimmy. We'll see you at 6.
Okay.
Lots of big sports news today. Not just, of course, Victory Monday for the Browns, but the other top talker is that the Indians have now played their last game at Progressive Field as the Indians. Next year, of course, they'll be taking that field as the Guardians. And there's so many memories. I think that's kind of the mode that we're all in right now. All right, we're not going to be able to change anything. The Guardians will be taking the field next year. And you kind of go into memory mode. It's kind of like when you went from junior high to high school. You're not saying, I'm forgetting all about junior high. You're going to celebrate junior high, but man, now we get to move on to the next thing. And one of my favorite memories here at Progressive Field was, of course, the 2016 World Series and getting to be the weather forecaster for all of that. I got behind-the-scenes access like nobody else, and I rolled around all throughout the pits down there in the tunnels underneath Progressive Field and just had such a phenomenal time getting to meet so many people. Look, I was down in Bernie Kosar's suite at one point. I mean, it was just like the most unbelievable 3 hours of my life just to be pulled in. There's Jim Leland, of course, longtime manager up in Detroit. Joe Torre was telling me stories about how much he loves Lady Gaga. Talk about random conversations. And then Mr. Manfred there, of course, the MLB commissioner. Just such an incredible day. And, of course, the rain delay. Yes, Terry Francona has forgiven me time and time again for the rain delay. Not my fault, as he said. But, boy, what an incredible moment to advise them, hey, 45 minutes from now it's going to rain. You're going to have a rain delay.
Yeah, that rain delay still rips my heart out.
I know.
I'm a little disappointed you didn't say hi when you were in Bernie's box.
Were you there?
I was there. Yeah.
I didn't even know you then. I was like,
Betsy did not say hi to me
who's
that
that guy
day.
back there?
2016, that's my favorite memory too. I'm very fortunate. I have been at every single World Series game that the Indians have played in my lifetime, 20 of them. The 2016 World Series, even though it was in defeat.
There's Bernie's back.
There's Bernie, and that's Chris Berman, and there's my son Corey. And I think for me, Jim Thome and Travis Hafner, that was before Game 7. That's before the game started, interviewing Tito. But for me, it all centered around that 8th inning, game-tying home run by Rajai Davis. And I can live to be 1,000, Betsy. And my favorite sports memory ever will be as Rajai is circling the bases, Corey, Bernie Kosar, and myself were in a group hug, jumping up and down. The entire time he was circling the bases, we were still jumping when he was getting high fives back at the dugout. And in that moment, I felt, here we go. The Indians are going to win the World Series. In fact, Chris Berman of ESPN fame even told me, son, your drought's about to end. And then the rains came.
Oh, yeah.
And when they pulled that tarp out on the field, I just had a sinking feeling that whatever momentum the Indians had was gone with the wind.
There it is.
And it was. And I know it was in defeat, so it's hard to say that's my favorite all-time memory of Indians baseball. But there it is.
I just want to say the GMs for both teams were in the room, and the assistant GMs, when I advised 45 minutes till the rain starts, you'll have a 15-minute rain delay. It ended up being 17 minutes. Still to this day, probably the best forecast I've ever done.
You nailed it. Unfortunately, the rains couldn't have held off just a little longer because I feel like the Indians had the momentum and they lost it.
Yep.
Oh, well.
Next time, we'll get them. Well, for some, it is the end of an era. For others, it's significant. We're going to show off some of your tribe gear as the team transitions names.
Then we have to talk about the Browns, right? So much sports news today. I love it. And you know Mike Polk Jr. has thoughts on their first energy win from yesterday. He's going to be along with that commentary. We'll do that in a little bit. But first, Matt Wintz back in the studio with your weather in a Giphy.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. I'll tell you, one of our favorite shows, especially producer Mo's, you can see from Friends when they sit in the recliner and it falls. That's how we were thinking we were going to sip pumpkin spice lattes all week. It's in the mid-80s outside. We've got cooler days ahead, though. We've got your forecasts coming up.
Here's what's clicking in Cleveland. We're talking about people's memories. Okay, Mo, what'd you say? What was the last part?
All right, Matt, we have our work cut out for us. 83 degrees, sunshine on the last home game for the Cleveland Indians. Now, March 31st, 2022, we need 83 degrees and sunshine for the first game of the Cleveland Guardians.
Right, Betsy, absolutely. I'll be off that whole week, so you go ahead. Go ahead.
That's what you think, buddy.
Right. Well, get in your schedule book right now. But, anything's possible that time of year. Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves so we never know what spring brings. But fall, boy, pretty consistent around here, right? We get these 70 and 80 degree stretches. I was just doing a little digging in terms of, okay, when can we expect the first 50s and the first 40s? We already had our 57 degree high. That was on September 23rd. Remember last week we had that chilly day. Our average first day in the 50s is September 26th. So that's what you can expect around now. Our average first day that doesn't get out of the 40s, not until late October. So we've got plenty of time here to enjoy the warmth. And the warmth we're in the mid 80s in Akron, over towards Medina, low 80s elsewhere. Beautiful afternoon on that southwest breeze. You can see the heat out in the plains still in the 90s. Pretty widespread out there. That dome of heat is not heading our way, though. We've actually got a cold front that's going to kind of tamper it down to the south once again, and it'll keep it right where it's at. So they've got a warm day in the plains, but for us, we've got a cold front that's going to come across the lake. Not a lot of moisture with us, but what you will notice tomorrow morning is a wind shift. That wind will shift from the southwest to out of the north. That will bring that air in off the lake. Your National Design Mart hour-by-hour forecast. It will come with increasing clouds overnight tonight. We could have a brief shower develop out of that, but that should be quickly out of here. Tomorrow morning, we'll have a mix of clouds and sun becoming kind of cloudy as that front really settles in. May have some drizzle around tomorrow morning as well. That will scour out quickly, though. Beautiful Tuesday afternoon expected. High temperatures only making their way up to probably low 70s, and that will set the stage for a chilly morning waking up on Wednesday. In terms of the big picture pattern, there's an omega block. So what's happening? Everything is going to go up and over a ridge. So what we have weather-wise is going to stay put. We're going to watch a high pressure settle in here on Friday. That's about it this week. Our next shot at rain comes later in the weekend. We'll see if that makes it here, depending on when that ridge breaks down. But your Union Home Mortgage 7-day forecast keeps the sunshine coming all the way through Saturday at this point. Then we're talking some rain chances Sunday, Monday. But Jay, a beautiful looking forecast for the rest of the week.
Boy, I'll say this is absolutely a gorgeous stretch of weather. Matt, thank you very much. Well, as we transition from this old Indians name to the new Guardians name, I thought I would throw it out there on Twitter just to see what folks are saying. Through an hour or two, we have almost 2,000 votes, and it's been holding steady really from jump. About 3 out of 4, 74%, say they prefer the Indians. We talked about it earlier, though. You win, and they don't care what the name is, just win. Our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney, joins us now. Stephanie, I know a lot of people have been sharing memories and posting their favorite memorabilia of the Indians in the past, and we're going to get to that in just a little bit. But you have some Michael Stanley news to tell us about.
That is right. Yes, we're going to get to that. But first, there is a tribute concert coming for the late rocker, Michael Stanley. The show, called Among My Friends Again, will feature members of the Resonators with special guest Jonah Coughlin. The concert will be on Friday, December 3rd at 8 p.m. at MGM Northfield Park's center stage, and those tickets go on sale this Friday. And with today being the last home game before the Tribe becomes the Cleveland Guardians, What's New viewers are sharing their favorite memories. Jim remembers coming home from work listening on the radio while Len Barker was pitching a perfect game back in 1981. For Mike Pinzone, it's that infamous Albert Bell pointing to his bicep in the 95 playoffs against Boston. Iconic. That same year, when the Tribe won the Division Series to go to the World Series, they did it on Kim Khaleesi's 21st birthday. And Ruby Pelk remembers her late husband and their sons taking their own food to the stadium. I remember doing that too. We did that when I was a kid. Now for Karen, she says she'll never forget getting 20-game season tickets to see the Tribe in 2018 and 2019. Here's hoping you get those back, Karen. You know, Jay, for me, it's got to be going to the Municipal Stadium with my parents and my 2 brothers to see Nolan Ryan pitch against the Tribe. That was back in the early 90s. We brought our own food, too. We packed up the popcorn. It was a lot of fun.
That's beauty. That's where I bought this beauty right here. 1977, the old Cleveland Indians helmet with my old favorite logo. Some people say you can also eat a bowl of soup out of this. So
classic look. I like it.
All right, we're coming right back with more What's New. Mike Polk with his thoughts on the Browns' win from yesterday.
Oh, it's another Victory Monday, and today we are talking about a specific position on the Browns team.
Yeah, our Mike Polk Jr. gives his take on the big win yesterday and who he thinks deserves a lot of the credit.
Well, there's certainly a lot to celebrate on this Victory Monday. First and foremost being the victory, of course. I know we're new at winning, but I don't see this getting old anytime soon. As far as highlights, Kareem Hunt played out of his mind. We made a bunch of visiting Meathead Chicago fan dudes really sad. I really like that. And of course, there's the fact that the defense managed to sack Bears quarterback Justin Fields. Wait, how many times?
9 times. 9 times.
That's a lot. But Kareem Hunt and Myles Garrett get plenty of praise, and deservedly so. Not only are they phenomenal talents, they also play high-profile, sexy positions that inevitably garner a lot of attention. That's why I've decided to devote my time here today to exclusively praising another standout performance from yesterday's game, someone who plays a position that too often goes overlooked. Today, I celebrate a kicker. That's right, I'm talking to you, Browns kicker Chance McMahon. Wait, that's not it, is it? What's his name?
Chase McLaughlin.
Right. I celebrate you, Chase McLaughlin. McLaughlin had a terrific game in which he made all 6 of his kicks, including 2 extra points and 4 field goals, 2 from beyond 50 yards. He also now holds the all-time record for longest field goal by a Browns kicker in that stadium after nailing a 57-yarder. Not bad for a day's work. Of course, we're gonna have to see some consistency out of this kid before we get too excited. The first thing he has to remember is that he is not Phil Dawson and never will be. Do you hear me? You will never be Phil Dawson. But that doesn't mean he can't have a meaningful and impressive career here in Cleveland if he manages to keep performing like he did yesterday. In fact, if everything goes well, perhaps he could even one day find himself featured on my personal Mount Rushmore of Cleveland Browns kickers. While he'll obviously never be able to displace Lou Groza, Phil Dawson, or Don Cockcroft, if he plays his cards right, there is a possibility that he could replace Scott Player, who only punted for the Browns for less than a month in 2007 before being released, but who earned his spot on my Browns kicker Rushmore simply by rocking the one-bar helmet and just looking awesome in general. But that spot is vulnerable and could be up for grabs. So there you have it, Jace McFadden, Chaz McNannon, Trace McSavage, Chase McLaughlin. Now you have something to aspire to. So keep it up, kid, and embrace your destiny by continuing to kick like you did in that game. And who knows, one day you might just earn yourself a spot on my totally subjective metaphorical mountain. And isn't that really what it's all about? This is Mike Polk, standing Phil Dawson forever for 3 News.
I think Phil Dawson is my all-time number 1, sorry Bernie, Browns player.
Oh, all-time, anything, like over Jim Brown.
Just loved his tenacity. He was an artist at the craft of kicking.
Well, he was very good, but he was a kicker.
Right.
Okay.
Go for the underdogs, man. Why is it always got to be the big guys?
We'll be right back.
Hi, testing 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Thank you. Good evening. I'm Russ Mitchell on Lakeside Avenue. Good evening. I'm Russ Mitchell on Lakeside Avenue.
my all-time favorite Indians player, Rick Manning.
Oh, I had too many to list.
So good. We're out of time. Thank you so much for watching.
What Matters Most with Russ and Lena starts right now.
Now at 6, historic day. After more than a century, today, the Cleveland Indians played their last home game ever as the Indians. We're live from Progressive Field with fan reaction. Also, booster confusion.
Boosters are important, but the most important thing we need to do is get more people vaccinated.
President Biden got his COVID booster shot today amid new questions about who should get the shot first.